And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the time that we spend learning, the time that we're spending sitting in this majlis, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it heavy in our mizan yawm al-qiyamah.
Ameen.
So you come in qiyamah and you find your reward heavy. Why? Because you attended a circle, class, we're studying the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the famous ahadiths that related to generally seeking the knowledge, the hadith of Abi Hurairah said, من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له به طريقا إلى الجنة. Whoever amongst you all Muslims سلك طريقا, you use a way, one of the ways for seeking knowledge. When I say seeking knowledge here, I'm not saying to you to be a scholar. I'm not saying that you even to be one of those who are highly advanced students of knowledge. Seeking knowledge for everyone. Don't think that it's only for those who are wants to be a Maulana or a Sheikh or something like that, or an Imam or a, it's not that. Seeking the knowledge for everyone. You need to learn your deen. You need to learn how to practice your religion. So that is important. And if you use for yourself, you create for yourself a way to learn that. So what is the way that you created today? Well, the Masjid is providing a circle to do with Islam, with Tafseer. You got up in the morning, you made that plan. I'm cutting all my relations with the people outside every Saturday morning. I'm coming into this class to attend, to learn whatever that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for me to learn. You created for yourself a way of seeking the knowledge. That now this method that you made it for yourself, maybe some of you came straight without even having breakfast. Maybe some of you wake up early and you had already your sabak, your Quran, your will, you made things and then you came to learn more about your deen. So Allah will make for you, Allah, the scholars explain this phrase from Rasulullah. They say, Allah will make for you an ease in life to make a deed, an action, good deed, that will be a reason for you to enter the Jannah. Amen. Because you're attending a class, you're making for yourself a way to seek the knowledge of the deed, Allah will make for you an ease for, let's say, to pray, to give a sadaqah, any kind of good deed in your life, that will be a reason for you to enter the Jannah. Sahala lahu tariqan il Jannah. And sahala, brothers and sisters, a word is from the pattern of fa'al in Arabic language. And that is Allah exaggerating the meaning and making it very strong that Allah will make for you a so easy something that will be a reason for you to enter the Jannah. That's one meaning. The other meaning, the ulama said, your attendance, you being in this class, that itself is a reason for entering the Jannah. Sahhalallahu lahu tariqan al-Jannah. So it will be your reason for entering the Jannah by attending the class. And imagine, there is no ibadah, think about from Alif to Ya, from A to Z. The last letter is Z, isn't it in English? From Alif to Ya, from the beginning to the end, think about any kind of ibadah, you think about it, take out the obligations. There is no ibadah like seeking the knowledge. Even Qiyamul Layl. Sitting from morning until evening making dhikr will not be equal to seeking the knowledge, the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala you're learning. And just being sitting in there and learning and paying attention to, that's a great thing. So just say that to motivate you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us.
Ameen.
We're still learning from Surah An-Naml, the surah which was revealed in Makkah. After the introduction, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala start mentioning the stories. As we said, we learned the story of Musa. The story was short, and the reason for short, we did learn about that as well. And starting with the story of Musa, because the greatest Nabi of Bani Israel, Allah, the closeness of the Bani Israel, the Jews to Rasulullah because of Medina. So we start with the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ عِلْمًا. This is the greatest, as we said last, I think we stopped somewhere there in the middle of this ayah. We connect that with Walida Sulaiman Dawood because we can go on older to talk about the inheritance. Allah said, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ عِلْمًا. Mention the father before the son for two reasons. One, because originally the father comes before the son. Although in terms of the greatness, the greatest Sulaiman is greater than Dawood. Sulaiman is greater than Dawood in terms of the achievement, if we may call that, in amongst Bani Israel, and the strength and the power of his empire is more stronger than Dawood alayhi salam. But Sulaiman would not have the kingship without the father. The father was giving that because he was one of the members of the army of Talut, as we said in the story. He was mentioned first because the father should be mentioned first, and then mentioned the son, and also in terms of the time, Dawood was made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a Nabi, selected to be a Nabi to Bani Israel, and he was selected to be a king as well, first, and then Sulaiman. Okay, so I think that Dawood and Sulaiman are the greatest thing that Allah will give you and your children is the ilm. If there is something that great to inherit and to for yourself to have and to leave it behind for your children is the ilm. And remember, brothers and sisters, the famous hadith, authentic hadith, إذا مات ابن آدم انقطع عمله إلا من ثلاث. When the son of Adam dies, your deeds will be completely ended. There is no good deed for you, except Allah mentioned three things. One of the three things He mentioned, علم ينتفع به. علم. You have knowledge there will be beneficial for everyone. So when you teach someone something, when you start with the basic, when you're teaching, I know your mind, you're thinking about someone who is in the masjid, having, hundreds of people, all of that. No, don't go into too much. Simple. Teaching a kind of book. What's a kind of book? That kind. Teaching a simple information to make a child being able to read the Quran. Imagine a child who is 5 years old, maybe 6, maybe 10, maybe 7 years old, being able to read the Quran. Imagine that every single day when he reads the Quran until he dies, the reward is there. That's ilm. You taught a child the ilm. So ilm, don't think about going into very extreme or think about simple way. And that's the greatest thing. So something that you can leave behind you if you can. If you can't, as we remember we talked about last week, what is about being a alim or muta'allim, you can't. These two can have them, love them, provide for them, make things easy for them. Or at the end, don't hate them. So these are things that you can do, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept from you the reward. So أعطينا داود وسليمان علما, showing the greatest thing in this dunya is the ilm. وقال الحمد لله الذي فضلنا على كثير من عباده المؤمنين. This is the teaching in here. The teaching from the Anbiya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that whenever you be blessed with something, all the time you need to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All the time, alhamdulillah is the word that for everything. Whether you are anything that you are giving, don't think about it, oh, I don't have it. You still fit and able, standing and moving, and this is a ni'mah from Allah. That's why in the morning when we wake up, alhamdulillah, alladhi ahyana ba'da ma matana. So the first word that you say when you wake up, because you're awake, you are fit. There are people that die when they're sleeping. And alhamdulillah is all the time to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything that we're giving. And this is the teaching here. The Anbiya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they did the same thing. قال الحمد لله الذي فضلنا, and they justified that فضلنا على كثير من عباده. Allah made us better to show you the ilm is better than anything else. Allah made them made them better than the others because of their ilm. And this is all the time, Ahlul Ilm are the best in the community. The people with ilm are all the time should be respected, and in the eyes of Allah, even if they're not respected, in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are all the time are the best, because they're having the ilm, they're carrying the knowledge of the deen of Allah. على كثير من عباده المؤمنين. We did talk about the word kathir because as if this is Sulaiman alayhi salam, they were careful, and we did compare that with the story of Musa alayhi salam, who was before them, and possibly more likely they know about the story of Musa, that when he said, when he was asked, is there anyone who is knowledgeable, the most knowledgeable person on the earth? He said, me. alayhi salam, and that's where we have the story of Al-Khidr. And he said, على كثير, on most of the عباده المؤمنين. And then we have Warisa Sulaiman and Dawood. So Sulaiman was a Nabi, and he used to judge, saying in the Majlis of the judgment, the same time when his dad was alive. And that is practice was amongst Bani Israel. So Bani Israel, in one town, in one period, you'll find more than one Nabi. We have Zakaria, the same time we have Yahya, and we have Isa. And we have Dawood and Sulaiman. The right opinion that Sulaiman was a Nabi during the time of his father. We don't have a clear evidence, but from the ayat that we have, that the ulama said the Sulaiman was a Nabi during his father's time. وَوَرِثَ سُلَيْمَانُ دَاوُودَ, and therefore the wiratha, talking about the inheritance here, as we did talk about the two views last week, is the inheriting the nubuwwah, the prophecy from his father, and that was the practice amongst Bani Israel. And nubuwwah is inherited quality, and nubuwwah, being a prophet, is ilm itself. وقال ورث سليمان داوود وقال يا أيها الناس. Listen to this. Sulaiman, when inherited the nubuwwah, the prophecy from his father, he stood up in front of the people. He said, وقال, he said, يا أيها الناس, all people, talking about Bani Israel. علمنا منطق الطير وأوتينا من كل شيء. He mentioned two of his miracles, alayhi salam. He stood in front of the people, يا أيها الناس. What did Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did when he became a messenger? Rasulullah sallam, his story, you know it, when he became a prophet, he went down to his wife, Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. He started telling the close people to him, friends, start with the family, then close friends, and people or the close of the close friends. Slowly, that went for 3 years. After 3 years, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood up on the mountain of Safa, and he said, Ayyuhan nas. Sulaiman said, Ya ayyuhan nas. And he told them, what do you say about me? And they said, you are as-sadiqul amin. You are the most truthful person. You are an honest person. What do you think if I tell you that behind this mountain there will be an army will be attacking you? He said, we will believe in you. Then listen to this. I am Rasul Rabbil Alameen. I was receiving the revelation from Allah. The greatest miracle for Muhammad is receiving the Quran from someone who he didn't go to school, he's not learning the way the Arab, they're trying to have the power of the language. He wasn't like them, but he said to them the Quran, the most powerful language at the time. He said it to them, here, look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about Sulaiman. قال يا أيها الناس, same thing. In ilm, the science of the prophecy about the Anbiya, one of the main things for the Nabi, after select from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Nabi, that he has to announce that to the people, and he has to prove his qualities, his miracles that what Allah gave him. And that's what Sulaiman did, what Rasulullah did before that as well, after that as well. So he said, "Ulimna mantiqa tayyib." We've been taught, ulimna. He did not say, I know mantiqa tayyib. As we all the time we say ourselves, oh, I know that. I know that. I know that. As if he was born from, as a alim from the beginning, you know everything. The way how we react sometimes, and we have the ilm from the day one. And Allah saying about you, وَاللَّهُ أَخْرَجَكُم مِّن بُطُونِ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا. When Allah created you from the wombs of your mothers, you have nothing, you know nothing. And then slowly you are learning. And he said, we've been taught, and showing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gave us this blessing, this ilm. So important that to read, and that's why when we talk the practice, one of the adab of the ilm, at the end of your majlis, at the end of your talk all the time, you should say, Allah knows best. Allah ma'alam. All the time you should return the ilm to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, we've been taught mantiqa tayyib. It was said, ulibna, the na in ulibna is for the plural The verb he added attached with the noun. We have been told. We told. Who's we? Is it Sulaiman and his father Dawood? That's one opinion said by the scholars. The second opinion said Sulaiman with the pronoun of being a great, because the great would no doubt he's a great king, he was a great Nabi alayhi salam, and it's allowed for him to go with a plural pronoun. We've been told us منطق الطير. So now Sulaiman alayhi salam, all brothers and sisters, from the story, from the first time that he was mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, تبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان وكفر سليمان, about the jinn, about the sihr, going into the story of Sulaiman and Surah Al-Naml here, the story of Sulaiman and Surah Saba and Surah Sa'd. These are the main three stories that are mentioning the miracles and the stories of Sulaiman alayhi salam in a lot of details later on in Surah Saba and Surah Sa'd. So there are a number of blessings from Allah, miracles that Allah supports Sulaiman with, and here is one of them. What is it? علمنا منطق الطير. المنطق means the language of الطير. منطق from نطق ينطق is to speak, to pronounce. And الطير, so I was taught how the language of the birds. منطق الطير. Some scholars, they say the word الطير, it means all the animals. But that is too much to exaggerate, and for the word in Arabic language to make it a general to include all the languages, all the animals. That is too much. This is a view in Tafseer. They say, Sulaiman is able to understand the language of all the animals. But Allah said in At-Tayr birds. If you say all the kind of birds, that will be correct. And that is the right, because the word At-Tayr, we say in Arabic, ism jins. Ism jins, like the word rajul, man. It's all types of man will be. Nisa, mar'a, it's an ism jins. Any kind of a lady will be included in the word mar'a. And here, tayyib, any types of birds will be included in there, whether it's smaller or bigger or a medium. So whether it's something you can eat it halal, something that you can't eat it, whether you live amongst the people or if you lives in the desert, so it doesn't matter, all kinds of tayyib. But we don't include in all the animals. So Sulaiman was given the ability to understand the language of the birds. And then Sulaiman said, وَأُوتِينَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. We were given from everything. So everything you think about it is a general word, and the word shay is indefinite. You know the word indefinite in English. If it was preceded by a word positive at the beginning, you're making it mutlaq, it includes everything. وَأُوتِينَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. The word shay, whichever thing that you think about it, that Sulaiman was giving from it. And that's why he was one of the greatest kings during his time. Whether the kingdom of Sulaiman was the whole world, as one of the views, which we don't have evidence about it, but it's a view said, or Sulaiman was the king of the whole Asham. And that is the correct opinion. Because during the time, if you know the story of Saba, Balqis, the king of the Saba, the area which is in Yemen, and if Sulaiman was the king of the whole world, the earth, the whole world, then how he has no power upon Saba, the people of Saba. So that is a weak opinion. Sulaiman was the king of all Sham. When we say Sham, we include Jordan, Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, all that area. And was the greatest civilization happened in the history in that area. So that's the word وَأُوتِينَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. We were giving of everything. So Sulaiman was giving a big, great power. And wealth is a big wealth. Now, let me finish this ayah and then I'll come to compare that with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So before I go to that, Sulaiman was able, if any birds speaking or using their language, we know that وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ, as Allah said in the Quran. We know that a saying for us, the birds, when they make their sounds, they make it tasbih. That's what is known, because as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ, there is nothing on this earth إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ. Even objects, walls, bricks, anything, signs outside, they make a tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Allah said in the Quran. So Sulaiman, Allah establishing the birds, the animals, they have a language, and their language was understood by Sulaiman. وَأُوتِينَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْمُبِينُ. After that, this statement said by Sulaiman, again to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these blessings. In hada, surely this, being able to understand the language of the birds, and having the power and having the wealth of everything, that is a fadl from Allah. That is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, Mubin isn't very obvious because can be seen by everyone outside. They saw, they experienced Sulaiman, how was able to speak to the birds. Sulaiman has the power. That was very well known and seen by them. And that's why it's Mubin. It's clear and obvious and seen by their community and the people there. And fadl because blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The following ayah, وَحُشْرًا لِسُلَيْمَانَ جُنُودُهُ, again, is one of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and one of the miracles of Sulaiman. I'm going to finish all these miracles before we go into the following ayat, and then I will take you back into, or while I'm explaining this, can you think without using your phone, searching Sheikh Google, think about, ponder about this, even if we don't able to do it today, we'll do it later on. We did mention before we established a rule, any miracle that was given to any Nabi of Anbiya of Allah before Muhammad, any great blessings was given to any Nabi of the Anbiya of Allah before Muhammad, Muhammad had the same thing or even better. Sulaiman was able to speak to the birds, understand the language of the birds. Was Muhammad the same thing, the same level? Or not? He wasn't given that. Sulaiman, he said, Utina min kulli shay. Kulli shay. He was a king. Was Muhammad the same thing? Or not? So will the principle that we established will have an exception in here? Or there's no exception, will continue and Muhammad is greater and he had better than what Sulaiman was giving. Think about this. We have more to think about it because look at the following ayah. It's great. A great blessing from Allah, great miracles from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Sulaiman. Banu Israel, during the time, there are people look generally from the ayah that you read in the Quran, people that look into the material things. If you look into the history of Banu Israel in the Quran, materials, they look into things that involve power, being strong, having materials. And that's what look Sulaiman. حشر لسليمان جنوده من الجن والإنس والطير فهم يوزعون. That's one of the times when Sulaiman needs to go out with his army, with his people. حشر وحشر from the word al-hashr. One of the steps of Yawm al-Qiyamah we will experience, we will see is al-hashr. Al-hashr, my dear brothers and sisters, comes after the resurrection straight away. Some people, they go from the resurrection, they go into the hisab, the judgment, the accountability and going into look into what you did and what you did not do. No, before that is al-hashr. Al-hashr is a step and we have to ponder about it. Allah mentioned that in the Quran. We have that in the Sunnah. When we'll be resurrected and then everyone will walk into al-mahshar. Hushra. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the word hushra to show you the great number of people that were with Sulaiman. To show you how the situation at that moment when Allah is talking about it is great. Hushra was gathered for Sulaiman. Huge number. Big number of 3 types. First, al-jinn. Secondly, al-ins. Thirdly, al-tayr. 3 kinds of creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they are all junood. All of them are armies of Sulaiman. It was said it was in Asham when he wanted to go somewhere. And related to that, we'll come into the valley of the Alps. It was said, and that's the famous, if you amongst the Mufassirin, it was in Asham, in where his empire was. But there's another view, famously mentioned books of Tafseer, that was in Al-Ta'if. Al-Ta'if, the city that you know that in the south of Mecca, about 70 kilometers from 75 kilometers from Mecca, the city that Rasulullah went to. But that is poor opinion because there's no strong evidence anywhere for both of them. But we say that it was in Asham because we know that he lived in Asham. So حُشِرَ لِسُلَيْمَانَ جُنُودُ. Allah gathered for him the junud, the army. And what are these armies? Min al-jinn. Allah used the word jinn when He talked about Sulaiman. He used two words. He used the word jinn and He used the word shayateen, as you see that in Surah Saba and Surah Sad. And from here, our ulama concluded that Sulaiman had two kinds of jinn. The word jinn, generally in the ilm of aqa'id, when you talk about Islamic studies, the word jinn, we refer to the believers. And shaitan, we refer to the disbelievers. So when Sulaiman had the jinn, it can be, includes both of them at that time, like this army. It might be only the believers. But the ulama mentioned here is both of them. But we know, as we have that in Surah Sad, about the duties, the jobs that Sulaiman gave them, and he gave duties out of force for the shayateen. Sulaiman forced the shayateen to do jobs. The jinns, they were forced to do duties, with an exception to the believers. The believers, they are supporters of Sulaiman alayhi salam. So here, min al-jinn included the believers and the disbelievers. The jinn, all the jinn. And jinn, as you know, is a creation created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they were created from fire. And they are the same kind of a shaitan. And we have the angels, the malaika. The malaika were created from light, and we have us, the mankind, were created from clay, as you know. So min al-jinn, the wal-ins. It was said in the Tafseer, al-ins are the humans, his own people, Bani Israel. It was the surrounding Sulaiman from right and left, the closer to him, were all from al-ins. And then behind him, later on behind him, was al-jinn, as if he is not trusting the jinn to be close to him, as if. But also can be understood in here, having a jinn and the ins closer to him, because the people that he can communicate with them easily and from his own nature, And then we have at-tayr. At-tayr, the birds, it was said the birds in this army, they were on top of him. When they are moving the army, big army, if there is a sun, they will be giving them shade. When there is no sun, the birds will be there anywhere. So that they're higher on top of Sulaiman and the rest of the army. فَهُمْ يُوزَعُونَ, فَهُمْ, they all, al-jinn wal-ins wal-tayr, all of them يُوزَعُونَ. Yuza is, waza'a yaz'u is mana'a yamna'u, to prevent. The word Allah said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَزَعُ بِالسُّلْطَانِ مَا لَا يَزَعُ بِالْقُرْآنِ. Allah will prevent some matters that happen in the community by having a ruler more than can be prevented by having just the Quran. How many sins that we commit? And we know the Quran is amongst us. But when having the ruler there standing, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot do this and that, then we don't do. And that's yaza', to prevent, to stop. And here, stopping them of being mixed and not being organized. It was said that the army was going, because as we said again, Banu Israel, they like the ubbah, they like the images, they like the scenes, they like to look great, to look everything is all materialized, everything that for them has to be excellent and perfect. Sulaiman was in the front, on the side, right and left and behind. The army from an ins are organized in a way that there is a space between each one of them, and it showed that the army was great, like what nowadays we have them since the time of Sulaiman. And behind them we have the jinn, and each one has their own duties. They are from Yuzaun. They're not mixing each other, they're all well organized. On top of them are at-tayr. Now, Sulaiman with this big army, al-jinn wal-ins wal-tayr. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is Sulaiman better than Muhammad in this point? Or Muhammad got greater than that? Or at least same as that? Think about it.
Greater.
Huh?
Greater.
Greater? He's saying that because out of love for Rasulullah. But even more reality, do we have something? Okay, I'll give you the hint here. Ghazwat Badr, the Battle of Badr, the Battle of Hunayn, the Battle of Ta'if. Compare between a jinn and compare between a malak. Jibreel alayhi salam was wearing the army suit, and he was ready fighting with Rasulullah in the battle of Badr. Muhammad was giving better than Sulaiman. He was giving the angels fighting with him, an army. The Sahaba, the battles of Badr, the Sahaba said, we are fighting with people around us, we don't know, we haven't seen them before. We don't know them, whether from the Ansar and the Muhajirin. And the same, even they have a debate, oh, I killed him. They say, oh, no, there's somebody else who killed him, I don't know him. And that's in Badr, and we have been saying that in Sanad, in year 5, and later on in Hunayn, later on year 9. So all the period of Rasulullah in the army, as Sulaiman needed that in the army, Rasulullah was giving better than Sulaiman, with no doubt. With no doubt about that. So, and look, in comparing between the jinn and ins, the malaika are يَأْمُرُونَ اللَّهَ مَا أَمَرَهُمْ وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. Day and night, 24 hours, all the time, they are ubbad, they worship Allah. The jinn, they commit sins, they commit this, and you know, if you have a new army, someone who's not good, it might affect you, but malaika, pure, all fantastic. With you in the army, you will get the success because you have them. By having with you, sometimes good, sometimes bad, it might get affect your army. And Al-Ins also got his army with him as well. And Al-Tayyib, I'll leave it to think about because you have the previous one, which is the ayah before that. Okay, let me go back into that because we're going to go to Naml now. We go to time. So we said, علمنا منطق الطير. Sulaiman was able to understand the language of the birds. Rasulullah was given the same thing. Rasulullah spoke even greater than Sulaiman. Rasulullah understood the language of the objects, the trees, stones, stones that Rasulullah in one occasion, Rasulullah, he listed with his hand 7 small stones in the Masjid, each one of them making tasbih to Rasulullah. And it's not even that. This miracle or this particular quality was given to his pious and righteous companions. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar and Uthman was in the same majlis, and they lifted the same stones, then making tasbih to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah was giving greater than even the language of the birds, the animals. He was giving the language of the objects that Jamal, you see Jamal, it's not even a living things inside. Rasulullah was giving to a living creatures also the nabat, the trees that spoke to him. The branch of the trees that was cut off for ages was able to speak and cry, and Rasulullah understood the language. Animals is not just the birds. Rasulullah spoken to the camel, spoken to wild animal, the wolf that was talking and complaining to Rasulullah, the ants, so everything Rasulullah had the same thing as Sulaiman. The only difference, it was highlighted for Sulaiman as a main miracle, but Rasulullah was not for him the main miracle. That is a side miracle, comes with his wife. The main miracle for Rasulullah was the Quran, Kitab Allah, the Book of Allah. So Rasulullah was giving like that. But when we read, we look into that, and when we listen to stories, oh great, all that, and you forgot about the greatest Nabi of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was giving greater than that. Okay, so that's that. وَأُوتِينَا مِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ, was giving everything. So Rasulullah was giving everything. In a Sahih, Rasulullah said to Aisha, he said to her, Atani Malak, an angel came to me. That's in an early time in Mecca. And he said to me, that's an early time when, but the hadith read by Aisha later on, would you like to be a nabiyyun abdun lillahi wa nabiyyun mursal, a slave of Allah, at the same time nabi mursal, or you want to be a nabiyyun malik, and we will make everything for you, we will be given everything. He said, la, nabiyyun abdun lillahi wa rasul. He selected the akhirah and he left the dunya. He said, I don't want the dunya. Rasulullah left all of this. He did not want to have kul shay. He wants to struggle. He said, if you bless me, O Allah, فَأَشْكُرُكَ فَأَحْمَدُكَ. If you did not give me, and then I will supplicate, so you will give me. That is the quality of al-abd. But when you have everything there ready for you, and that's why you see Sulaiman in every step in all his life, shukr, 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 shukr. Because he was giving everything in there. If he misses in one of the steps, the shukr, he's a Nabi. He will not do that because it's ma'soom from Allah. But it's a teaching, a lesson for us. When you are giving great ni'mah, remember every step in your house. I'm going to scare you now. You go upstairs, downstairs, you go to the kitchen, here and there, garden, you're giving a great ni'mah. You should remember to say thank you to Allah in every movement in there. Sulaiman, look into pondering his story, everything with shukr. Thank you to Allah. With Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I don't have, I supplicate. Sulaiman, his already supplication is thanking Allah because already was giving that. He's not asking Allah, he asked Allah, he said, رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَهَبْ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنْبَغِي لِأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي. Oh my Lord, forgive me and give me a mulk. That's what he said here. وَجِينَا مِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Give me a mulk that لَا يَنْبَغِي لِأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي. No one can get it after me. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one day in the Masjid, a jinn wanted to disturb the companions, the Salah, and Rasulullah, he's got the power on them. He caught that jinn, and he's about to hold him and to rock him and to make him a scene by the companions. He said, تَذَكَّرْتُ دَعْوَةُ أَخِي سُلَيْمَانَ. I remember the dua of my brother Sulaiman. رَبِّ هَبْ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنْبَغِي لِأَحَدٍ مِّن بَعْدِي. Oh my Lord, give me a kingship that will not be given to anyone else. And seeing the jinn, for us, we can't see the jinn. Allah created them in a way that they can't see us. They are with us now, they can't see if they attend the majlis and they're listening to us, but we can't see them. So Muhammad sallam, he said, I remember the dua of Sulaiman and I released that jinn. The jinn was caught by Abu Hurairah. The jinn was caught by Ubay ibn Ka'b. The jinn was caught by Mu'adh bin Jabal. So can you see, I said to you, even the great companions of Rasulullah were giving similar into what the some of the Anbiya were giving. So you cannot say that Muhammad did not get that. And with the word of Kul Shay, the mulk, Rasulullah out of zuhd, out of that, I don't want it. I don't want that. It's, your Allah, you're not forcing me. You're not telling me to take it. It's an option. I'm not taking it as an option. I would prefer to supplicate. Whenever I supplicate, I need something, you give it to me, that is better. And that's what we do as well. So whenever we need something, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will give us. But if you are giving everything, you don't need to ask Allah for something, then remember to say thank you to Allah all the time. So that's sorted, alhamdulillah. So you are convinced now Muhammad is better than Sulaiman, with no doubt about these miracles, yeah? Then in this, I think that's it, 1 minute left, so we'll leave the story of Naml because it's too long to talk about many things about Naml. So something was a fact mentioned in the books of Tafseer and something is in the history. We'll leave that inshallah ta'ala for another lesson. So Allah knows best. If I said something correct, is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If it's something incorrect, that's from me, definitely. May Allah forgive me. And for my shaitan, a'udhu billah, jazakumullah khair everyone. If you have any question, please go ahead.